All right. Number 19. Liebe Isbichels Althuis haben die Gewonnen gehabt verbrennt, aber hat schon seitens gehabt aufgestellt ein Neuhaus. Rachavediker von der Friedike. Okay, Liebe Isbich's house, old house, had been burnt by the Yevonim, the Ukrainian ruffians, that is the Cossacks. But he had already in good time put up a new house, which was even more comfortable, than the original house. Yaakov is in a Vorderhaus. Yaakov came into an entryway. Die Tür von Kirch is gestanden offen. The door of the kitchen was open. We had dort geprägelt Kotletin, Reisjekes. They were in the kitchen. They were frying cutlets and fried onions. Liebe's erst Weib is gehat umgekommen. Liebe's first wife was slaughtered, was killed. Aber beim Euven hat sich geporet a zweit Weib. But by the oven, a second wife was working. There was already a second wife on the scene. A Yidna hat geknechten Tag in a Multer. A Yidna, a woman who worked there, was kneading dough in a trough. A Mädel hat gestoßen Pfeffer in a Mersche. A young girl was grinding pepper in, I guess, some sort of a container or a mortar and pestle. That's how you would grind pepper. Hat auf a Weile wieder a hoch getan mit der alte Eingesessenkeit. There was a feeling all of a sudden of the old places. And this is, I guess, what Yaakov is thinking. The house and the domestic scene in the kitchen reminded him of his former life. Der Balabus, der Eigener, was is gekommen, Jaakovin auslesen und was hat ausgezählt, Zagaiken 50 Dukanten, the head of the household, who was the very same person who had come to ransom him and had given Zagaic 50 ducats, hat geöffnet die Tür zu der Gaststube und Jaakovin hereingebeten, opened the door to the salon, the living room, and invited Yaakov in. Alles is dort gewesen neu. Everything was new. Die Wand, der Diel, der Tisch, der Stuhlen, everything was new. The walls, the floor, the table, the chairs. Es ist gestanden als vor dem Schank, mit nahe gebundenes Vorhang, gekauft in Lublin. There was a new bookcase with newly bound books that had been purchased in Lublin. Der Rashoyim haben gestellt. Yidden haben gebeut. The wicked ones had disturbed and destroyed, and the Jews had built. hat wieder gedruckt jiddische Sporen. We were again, Jewish books were again being printed. The Chabrim seinen rumgefahren, Gläuben Prenumeraten wie in die Amulike Joren. Writers were traveling around looking for what would you call that? Advances for their books. They would look for advances for the books so they could print them, just as in the old days. Jedes Mal, was Jakob hat sich angestoßen auf der Dosiker Beinayung und Seder Holam, hat ihm getun a Stoch in Herz. Every time that Yaakov was confronted with this renewal of the order of the world, it was like a stick, a pang in his heart. Avada muzin die lebendige Leben. Of course, the living ones after the Churban have to go on living. Aber es ist euch gelegen in der Hoffärtigkeit a Verschwächung legabe die Teute. In the building of the future, there was some kind of a desecration of the dead, the sort of conflict between building anew after the catastrophe and what is this a desecration of the dead. Yaakov hat sich der Mond, das bei Singets von Abadchan. Yaakov reminded himself of a song from Abadchan, someone who entertains at a wedding. I usually associate it with a wedding. It might be other occasions, a simcha. Was ist das Leben? What is this life? A Tanz bei Fallen, a dance on graves. Sein Itzdik Kumen angucken a Kale is for him a Schand und Schmach. This current, the fact that he was coming now to look for a wife, and this is why he's coming to this meeting, was a disgrace. If you look at it in terms of a desecration of the dead. A Portrait von dannen seinen gelegen, begraben sein Weib und Kinder. Just a few steps from here were laying buried his wife and children. Nu, aber es ist besser zu haben a Weib, wie zu trachten Tag und Nacht von an Erlied. It's better to have a wife than to be constantly thinking day and night about the non-Jewish woman, that is to say, Wanda. A while hat Liebe gerät mit Jacobin wegen der Yeshiva und allerlei kehilische Streiten. For a little while, Lipa, the Balabus, talked with Yaakov about the yeshiva, where Yaakov was the teacher, and all kinds of community quarrels, life going on. Lipa's wife, the new wife, hat reingebracht a Klosch mit Kittlech und a Klosch mit Weinschel auf den negidischen Stege. The new wife brought in a serving bowl full of little cakes and a serving bowl filled with sour cherries. And this being the style of the well-to-do. Sie hat sich erheutelt und sich verentfelt, verwusst, sie ist nicht angetan wie gehörig. She blushed or she reddened and she answered why she wasn't dressed as was appropriate. She was not properly dressed. I don't know whether she's actually saying this or whether she's just indicating this, but she wasn't properly dressed. Sie hat geschockelt mit dem Kopf zu Jacobin, wie sie wollt gesagt, Stummelheit. She shook her head to Yaakov as if she was saying to him silently, Ich weiß, was du trachst. I know what you're thinking. Aber was kann man sich helfen? But how can we help ourselves? Der Mensch ist nicht der Balabus. I don't understand what's going on there. She's as though she's having a quiet discussion with Yaakov and saying, I know what you're thinking, but the Mensch is nicht the Balabus. In other words, who is the Mensch and who is the Balabus? The Balabus is Lipa. Is she commiserating with Yaakov at that point? I don't understand that sentence. Noch a while is reingekommen die Almona von Herobishov, a kleiner, a breiter, und a Seidenkleid, an Antlichner Schuhe, a Kopke mit a Chipik, behangen mit polierter Bänder and with falsche Perl. There you have her. So here she comes. This is the widow, the prospective bride. She's small. She's wide. She's wearing a silk dress. She's wearing a satin coat. She's wearing some sort of a hat with which is hanging with colored ribbons and with false pearls. Now, how would this person appeal to Yaakov? Sie hat gehabt a fett ponim. She had a fat face, full mit Knetchen und wie zu neuf geklebt von a Sachstickel. She had a fat face which had so many wrinkles that it looked like it was pieced together out of different pieces. Eugen hat sie gehabt schwarze, ähnlich zu die Karschen, was man nennt Reus und Wischnik. She had eyes, little black eyes, that were similar to the pits that you take out from the cherries that are in the cherry liqueur. Auf den Hals hat gehangen a golden ketel mit a Ritsche. Around her neck was hanging a golden chain with something, I guess some kind of an ornament. Auf der Finger haben geblitzt Fingerlich. On the fingers were shining little rings. Sie hat geschmeckt von den Jiden mit Honig und Zimmering. This woman smelled from honey and cinnamon. So we have a picture of a woman. Sie hat a Kuck getan auf Jacobin und a Sog getan kliegerisch. She took a look at Yaakov and said, kliegerisch, in a kind of a shrewd way, kliegerisch. Weh is mir, ihr seid doch kein Einhara Aris. Oh my God, you look like, without any evil eye, a giant. And he answers her, wir seien alle wie mir hat uns beschaffen. Each one of us is as God created us. Warte, aber es ist besser zu sein hoch, wie zu sein akarlik. Well, okay, it's better to be tall than to be a midget. Die Jidne hat gerät mit einigen halb singendig und halb wenedig. This woman, she's called a Yidna, is taught with a tune that was half singing and half crying, kind of a whiny tone. Sie hat geschneit den Nose in a Batistenel Batshaila. She blew her nose in a fancy cotton handkerchief. Sie hat erzählt, als die Fuhr, was mit ihr ist sie gekommen von Herowischow, kein Josephow, hat auf den Weg verloren Arod und mir hat sich gemusst abstellen bei a Schmiederei. She was telling them the story of her trip and how are you in the right place, Marcia? I'm reading off another screen, so yeah. The way on this, as she was the trip over from her town to Joseph's, they lost a wheel and they had to stop at a blacksmith. Sie hat gerät wegen ihr Schnittgewell und wegen dem, wie es schwer zu kriegen, die Stoffen, was die können verlangen. She was talking about her, whether it's a fabric store or a dry goods store, it's some kind of a shop that she has, and how difficult it is for her to get the fabrics or the items that her customers are demanding. Sie hat gesitzt und sich gepocht mit a Fächer. She was sighing and she was fanning herself with a fan. In Onheud hat sie nicht gewollt anrühren dem Kibud, was Lipas Weib hat ihr zugetragen. In the beginning, she didn't want to go near the refreshments that Lipa's wife was serving to her. Dennoch hat sie ausgetrunken a Becher mit Jagdsaft, but afterwards she downed a cup of some kind of juice, some maybe berry juice, aufgeessen 3 Kichler, and she ate 3 cakes. You have the feeling she's stuffing herself. Die Brettlach was seinen herabgefallen, auf die Falden von der Schuhe hat sie aufgeklebt und herabgeschlungen. The little crumbs that fell on the folds of her coat, she picked up, she gathered together, she aufgeklebt, and she swallowed them down. So she's like stuffing herself after initially saying she didn't want to eat. Sie hat sich geklockt, als der Maschil is on a base oig, a größer, und als auf dem Mädlach die Arois helfen nicht, kann man sich nicht verlassen. She was crying, geklockt, she was crying, complaining that her business is no evil eye should come on me, a big one, but she could not rely upon these girls, the sales ladies, her helper girls who are working there. She just can't rely upon the hired help. Mit fremde Hand is gut, weil zu schauen. with strangers' hands. It's good to move. I've always heard it as it's good to move coals. It's good to move fire. In other words, you can't trust a stranger. Hat sie so getan. She said this. Sie hat abgemost in Jakobin kleinlich und mit Genischaft. Sie hat geteinet, es muss sein am Mannsbillenstuhl. Wenn nicht, schwindt alles weg. So she's looking at him from the side and with a sort of with Ganesha, with an experienced eye. This is the second time that she's been referred to as somebody. She's like looking over the goods with an experienced eye. And then she explained or said, you know, there has to be a man in the house. When there isn't, everything just floats away, swims away. I'll stop there. But there you have Bashevis's amazing description of this woman. We know everything about her after 3 paragraphs. The kind of person.
Just one comment.
Yes.
Your Hebrew was perfect. Cain, ayin, hara. But we say Cain and horror.
Oh, Cain and horror. Thank you. But the way he describes her, how we know this woman, we know her eating habits, we know her the way she talks too much, we know the way she looks at people, we know the way she looks at those who are lower than her. We know everything about her in just half a page. He's amazing.
Jakob hat benommen, als gefällt dir und als die Jidene ist great zu schreiben, Rashi Parokim, aber allein, Jakob, ist gewinn voll mit Quenklenisch.
Jacob realized that he appealed to her, and she is gefällt hier. She likes him, and she is prepared to write Roche Prakim, a draft contract, a provisional contract.
Die dosige Jidene ist zu alt, zu süß und zu schleu. This Jewish woman is too old and too sweet. And what is
too sly? She's
well, cunning. She is too sweet. Too süß.
She's cunning.
Yeah, and schleu is cunning. She's too cunning.
She's too cunning. Hat nicht gehabt, kein Schum, Chashik zu stehen in a Krom. Schaffen über Meshrasim, sich Dingen mit Kunim. Moshe, would you be willing to help with that?
Okay. Sorry, I left out Kvenklin is hesitate. So he was full of hesitation.
He was full of the hesitation.
Die Dosika Eden is too old. This old lady is too old. Susie, oh, you've done that. He had no desire to stand in a krom, in a store. Schaffen über Mashorsim, to boss, to rule over servants, sich dingen, to haggle mit konim, with buyers.
Die dosige Esa hat gedacht, Emerson, was ist mit Leib und Leben reingetan in Handel, in Geld.
Why don't you try some of the words?
You know most
Yeah.
of these words, I bet.
Yeah, the same thing, the same. Asa is advice, right?
Oh,
And this
Isha,
woman,
the woman,
Uh, uh, had really had to do with life uh, and trade and money.
now,
no,
what she
this,
needed, what she needed was someone who is totally committed to trade and money,
Ah,
which
okay.
he could not
Sie
feel
hat
qualified.
geschmust wegen zu bauen a Fliegel zum Haus und a Haus breiteren die Krom. She wanted to build an addition onto an additional wing onto her house,
Yeah?
and a Reus breiteren die Krom. Was ist die Krom?
The store, the business,
Aha. Was
greater,
länger,
Royce Brayton, and increase the size of,
so expand the business.
Mhm.
that's a better word, yeah.
right.
Was länger, sie hat eingeteilt als Umetiker ist geworden Jakoven. And with all her other complaints,
No, the longer she reasoned and argued, he became, Yaakov became sadder.
More depressed.
Yeah, yeah.
ah,
Lunatic, sad,
He
depressed.
needs him depressed.
ich bin mehr nicht von der Doseker Welt, hat zu sich gesagt. He said, I'm no longer for this world, he said to himself. Es wird nicht teugen, nicht von mir und nicht von ihr. It won't work either for me or for her. Hat so getan, he said, ich bin
The
Beteva
Teva,
nicht,
yeah,
Beteva nicht kein Sucher. What is a Sucher?
merchant, a merchant.
Okay, I'm not a merchant.
No, but Teva is by nature.
By nature.
I'm not.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
It's Teva.
yeah,
Keiner wird nicht geboren, kein Sucher. No words can turn me into a merchant.
Nobody is
But the
born. Nobody's born a merchant.
nobody's born
Keine
a merchant. But the Yidden opgeentfert. The Jewish woman answered, noch hat Zeger nicht. What is Zeger nicht?
hesitation,
yeah.
after hesitancy.
Aha. Sie hat ausgestreckt a Hand mit kurzen, dicke Finger und angenommen a Stängel mit Weinschel. So she raised up her hand with her little fingers and took, what is a Stängel?
The stem, a little branch of cherries. So she's still eating.
This cherry. She's still stuffing the face.
Uh-huh. Okay. Sie hat genommen ausfragen Jakoben, wie es ist ihm zugegangen in Gefangenschaft. So she started asking Yaakov how it had happened with him that he had gone in, what is Fangerschaft?
Captivity,
Yeah.
captivity.
How it went
Sorry.
with him. How did it go for you when you were in captivity?
Uh-huh. Gewöhnlich hat man wegen solche Sachen nicht gerät. One didn't talk about such things.
Usually, And
Generally, yeah.
yeah, and in fact, I knew Holocaust survivors, and this was a characteristic that
Yeah.
they were reluctant to talk about it.
Too
Yeah,
painful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you didn't ask questions. You were afraid to ask.
ja. Die Zeit, was Jeden haben verbracht zwischen Goyim in Knechtschaft, hat man verrechnet für abgehackte Jahren. So the time that Jewish people spent in slavery with the Goyim, they considered those to be stolen years or missing years.
Missing years, chopped off years.
Ein Stück verschnitten Leben, was man darf darin vergessen. So it was a part of your life that you really wanted to forget. Aber Gideniste darf sich nicht rechnen mit dem Manochag. I'm sorry, Michael, can you help with that sentence?
But a wealthy woman, eine Gedichte, doesn't have to deal, doesn't have to deal according to custom. She can ask questions. She can
Yeah.
ask questions.
Ist übergesessen dem Sommer
No,
und von
Jacob
den.
No, no, you skipped a sentence.
Oh, sorry. Okay, Jakob. Jakob hat dir erzählt von Jan Bzik, von der Stall auf dem Berg, wo ist übergesessen dem Sommer und von dem Scheier, was ist geschlafen Winter. So Jacob told her about Jan Bzik, about the barn on the mountaintop where he used to spend the summers, and the barn where he would sleep in the winter. Sie hat getan, and she asked him, und wo hat ihr genommen zu essen, oben auf dem Berg? And who brought you food to eat up on the mountain? Mir hat mir gebracht von unten. They brought it to me from down the hill. Wer? Die Goy allein, der Goy allein. Who? The non-Jew, meaning a male non-Jew. Sein Tochter, his daughter. A Shiksa, a non-Jewish girl. A Goya, a non-Jewish girl. Shabbos hat man aufgemusst reißen die Großen. And on Shabbos, what is reißen die Großen?
had to pull out the grass,
Grass.
to cut the grass for the cattle.
Oh, and on Shabbos, did you have to feed the cattle, bring the grass for the cattle?
No,
Kobnish?
Pull the grass. Pull.
cut the anyway.
She's asking him whether he worked on Shabbos. That's
Exactly.
what
Right,
she's trying to
right.
get at. Yeah.
Hab nicht Mechalel Shabbos gewinn und nicht gegessen kein Treffus. Is he saying he never violated the Shabbos and he never ate any non-kosher food?
Correct.
Yeah. Hat Jakob geantwortet, verschämt. Davon, was berühmt sich mit seiner Jüdischkeit. So Jacob answered her embarrassed. He was embarrassed that he had to justify his Jewishness.
Bariman is boasting that he was
Boasting of his Jewishness. Die Jidene hat weil noch getracht. The Jewish woman thought for a while. Dennoch hat sie sich angerufen. And then she said, Man hat dann gehabt, Barriere. What is a Barriere?
Options, choice.
Choice. A brera.
So a Barriere. So you had a choice. Weh und Wind, was die Schirm haben Macht von uns. So this is what the Goyim turned us into.
No, but woe is me.
What's that? Yeah.
Woe is me what the evil ones did to us.
Ja. Und sie hat ausgestreckt die Hand nach dem Klosch mit Kichlich.
Yeah.
And then she stuffed her handbag with cookies.
She stretched out her hand to get a few more of those little cakes from a cloche.
Okay. I think I tortured you enough. Maybe Moshe should take over.
Okay.
It's not a torture.
I just want to, what struck me is how smart this woman is. She's asking very pointed questions.
Right.
And
she's not really a bad person. I mean, she says, well, she realizes that things might have happened up on that mountain with this woman who was bringing him food, but she says, well, we didn't know. There was no choice. She recognizes the realities of what life was like under those circumstances. It's like when you meet people who have been through terrible situations, the Shoah or other things, and you realize that they didn't have any choice, and you can't ask them, did you eat treif? Did you steal? Because those questions are not relevant in that context. She's not a dumb woman. She's just a little coarse. She's a little old. She's not physically attractive. I mean, all of those things, but she's not a stupid woman.
No, definitely.
She also seems to be looking for reasons not to think badly of him. You know, when he says, I don't have anything to do with being a merchant, she says, well, not everybody's born a merchant, you know, and she says, you know, and if you don't have a man around, you know, things don't go well. So she wants to have a man around, and she's looking for reasons not to disapprove of him.
Yeah. Oh, she likes him. He's an attractive person, but she's not a dumb woman, but she's a certain type that isn't for him, and this kind of interaction is something that we've all been through when you're with somebody and you recognize that you are dealing with issues that you can't walk in at. You have to allow space where you might not have before or in another situation.
Well, he's kind of in despair about her. I mean, he says, I'm no longer for this world.
Yeah.
Okay. Es ist gewesen Mittagszeit bis midday. Die Yeshiva Bochurim seien Abegessen warms. The Yeshiva boys, kids, Bachurim, teens, went home, went away to have their lunch. Zu sich heim oder zu die Balabatim, wo sie haben gekrogen Tag, either to their own homes or to the householders where they were kriegen Tag is each householder undertakes to feed a yeshiva bocher on a certain day. So they went on their specified days to a specific householder. Yaakov is geblieben allein in Beis Midrash. Yaakov remained on his own in the study house. Ist gesessen und übergekehrt im Shiur, übergeguckt im Shiur. He was sitting and looking over the lesson. Sie sagte, gut wieder zu sitzen in God's house. It is really good to sit again in God's house. Sich herein zu tun in die Sforim, was Jakob hat gemeint, als wird sie schon keinmal vor die Augen nicht sehen. And to look again into the books that Jacob thought that he will never see it before his eyes again. Aber das Verdienen Breut von Melamdes is ihm nicht gefallen, but earning bread from teaching did not appeal to him. Srovbacherim haben nicht begehrt zu lernen. Most of the kids did not really want to learn. Andere haben sich gefleist in Prattlach. Others worked hard at literal interpretations of the scriptures in zu neufieren Avant mit Avant in einem, in Ianim, for seinen Poshut und Chlor, and they were they were enthusiastic, working hard at bringing together a wall with a wall in matters that were really simple and clear, so they were complicating matters. Die 5 Jahre seien abgerissen von Teure, haben in Jakob allein reingebracht auf Veränderung. Oh, die 5 Jahre seien abgerissen von Torah. The 5 years that he was taken away, torn away from Torah, had brought into Yaakov a change. Die Anor von Lernen is mehr nicht kein Ganzer. The pleasure of learning was no longer as complete as previously. Hat sehen Sachen von seinen im Fried nicht aufgefallen. He saw things that had not struck him before. Von jedem Din in der Torah ist geworden ein Tutzdinim in der Mishnah. From every single law in the Torah, they had developed a dozen laws in the Mishnah, a shok in der Gemara, 60 interpretations in the Gemara, a yam, a total sea in the Späterdike Poskim, and a sea of prohibitions in the later commentators. Jeder Dor hat zugegeben Chomres. Every generation added justifications, ungelogen nahe Isurim, loaded on new prohibitions. In der Zeit, was Jakob hat sich gefolgert in Dorf, in the time that Jacob had wandered in the village, seinen gehat abgedruckt geworden nahe Perushim, new commentaries were printed auf dem Shulchan Aruch und sie haben zugegeben neue Trefes. So new Shulchan Aruch, which are the basic laws of Jewish living, there were new prohibitions, trefes, things that are not kosher, which you shouldn't do. Ob es soll so gehen, if it will continue this way, is Yaakov durchgelaufen Trotzikereien. Yaakov had the provocative idea, but als sein Treif, you won't be able to do anything. Everything will be Treif. Aber was ist die Kunst von Treif machen der Welt? But what is the value, the art of prohibiting everything, a world? Was soll Jeden essen? What will Jews eat? Verbrennen dicke Keulen, burning coals. Nu, und was haben die alle verboten und Siogim, was Jeden haben auf sich genommen? And why have the Jews taken all these fences around the law and prohibitions upon themselves? A Siad La Torah is traditionally to protect the law, you make another law so that you will not transgress the previous law. Sei nicht abgehitten von die javanische, oh, okay. Nu, haben die alle verboten und Siagemoziden haben auf sich genommen, sei nicht abgehitten von die javanische Achsarios. And why have all the prohibitions and fences around the Torah that Jews have taken upon themselves, why didn't they protect them from the cruelty of the Ukrainians? Was noch will der Rebbeinu Shel Olam von sein verpeinigter Volk? What orders the good Lord want from his tortured people? Jakob hat eingesehen noch etwas, and Jakob saw something else. As we while der Olam hit up jeden din, although the congregation observes every law, jeden minhag in the mitzvahs shebein adam lemakom, every custom between man and God, zwischen the makom, and he zwischen Mensch und Gott, between man and God, hat man mit Leichtherz gebrochen die Dinim shebein adam lechavero. They, with a light heart, broke the laws that govern behavior between man and his comrade, zwischen Mensch und Mensch, between man and man. Vor Pesach, before Pesach, when Yaakov is umgekommen kein Josephus, before Pesach, when Jacob came to Josephus, hat in Städtel gebrennt am Achleukes wegen Essen, Arbes und Beblech in Pesach. There broke out an argument about eating peas or beans in Pesach. So hat ausgefällt Mel auf Matzes. Flour was short to make matzahs. Und der Rav hat gehabt Reis gegeben, a hater to essen. I'm not sure how you pronounce it.
Kitnios.
And
Kitnios.
And the rabbi had given forbidden to eat legumes, was is nicht verboten, nicht in der Torah, nicht in Talmud, that are not forbidden either in the Torah or the Talmud, and nicht in Rambam, and not even in Rambam. Aber Balabatim was vielen Sepharim mit sehr Obgehigkeit, but landlord, householders who wanted to boast about their religiosity, that they fulfill all the commandments, und was haben gehabt mit dem Rav Keshbonis, and you had business dealings with the rabbi, seinen Überfall mit Siedlereien actually cursed him. Acheshim can be business dealings, but I wonder if it just doesn't mean some difficulties with him. Any thoughts?
Wait. Abgehitten und was haben gehabt mit dem Rav? In other words, they had business, they had cheshbonis with him.
Yeah, but I mean, does cheshbonis mean business or the
Business.
difficulties with him?
I think it means business dealings with. I think maybe we'll understand, but there was clearly some corruption going on underneath the decision about whether you could eat kitnios or not, which goes on to this day, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yes. Very much so.
I'm not surprised. maybe this is what, anyway, I'll leave that. Sister Ganga so weit as man hat ausgehakt beim Rav die Scheiben. Oh, it went so far that they broke the windows of the rabbi's house. Rav die Scheiben in Fenster und man hat reingeschlagen,
Schlagen.
Nägel in der Bank, wo sitzt. And they even hammered nails into the bench where he's sitting up there, Mizrach, at where he sits on the eastern wall, which is the place of honor.
Yes.
Einer Atakif ist viele gekommen zu Jakoben mit ihm vorschlagen. One of the rich people even came to Jacob to propose to him, soll verhappen dem Rotsstuhl. He should take over the rabbi's position. Jeden und jedes haben, was wollten, sich besser gelost, umbringen, Eider zu brechen. Eine von die Homeres, Jews and Jewesses who would rather who would rather allow themselves to be killed before they would break one of the laws and commandments. From Alain Beret Loshen Hara also spoke evil words, betrogen Rechilas, slandered, berufen Ormaleit mit zunehmen, and had nicknames for the poor people. Die Londim haben sich nähert gegrüßt über die Amaratsim, Amaritz. I'm not sure how you say it in Yiddish. Amaritz. The students not only boasted and the students furthermore boasted over the ignorant people. Die Kahalai haben verteilt zwischen sich und seine Nonte allerlei Kasakos. The congregation people divided among themselves and their relatives all sorts of rights of possession, Fachten and leases, was der Fundkommen Reisen beim Olama Apas. And from these rights and possessions, they could tear away from the congregation. They could strip the congregation.
Mm-hmm.
Ja. Sofrim haben genommen Prozent mit der Hater Iska. Merchants took interest
Yes.
with the permission, with special permission. Behalten Scheurer, sie soll werden tired, and they hid goods so that they should become more expensive and more precious. Andere haben viele gegeben a falsche Vogue und a falsche Moss, and others even gave a false weight and a false measure. Jakob would say alle betroffen in Beis Midrash. Jacob met them all in the study house. Die Kasnim, the irritable people, the irascible people, the Balei Gaba, the proud people, the Chonfim, the flatterers, the swindlers, which is the swindlers.
Swindlers.
Mahot bedaffend when gehetzt. They prayed, but they quarreled. Sich gepashtelt und verbochen Gottes Gebot. Sich gepashtelt they quibbled from a pshat, and they broke God's commandments. Die kleinen Ohren dos Josephus is geworden noch Knekht. How small and where Josephus had become after the slaughter. Also is es geblieben full mit Sinne. Oh, as small as it had become after the slaughter, also is es geblieben full mit Sinne. So it had become full of hate, Reisenisch, quarrels, and Bitterkeit and bitterness. Der Schatten, was hat gerät Jakoben bei dem Schiddet mit der Robisch, die Scheuvel Almona, hat übergegeben Jakoben als me prove it door in Josephus Kalja the shadchan who was talking to Yaakov about the Shirat, who was trying to matchmake with the Robish Shoyever widow, let Yaakov know that they are trying in Josephus to destroy the match. Und als Emetz hat viele weggeschrieben hat der Ramona Pascal mit Redakteur auf ihm Jakoven, and